let's add a bookable time to one of our existing cages. We were able to register cages and list them. Now let's make them available for snakes to stay in. So we're going to work on this update availability method here. We've got our requirement that you have to have an account because they're your cages, whose cages you're going to manage, right? Things like that. And we're going to just print out the list cages. I've changed that slightly so it has a number. I'll show you really quick. I'm using enumerate and an index. So it says 1, 2, 3 instead of star, 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 because we want to ask like, hey, what cage do you want to work with? So we're going to add that here. And just for the sake of time, I'm just going to paste that. So it's going to say, what cage do you want? Either you can cancel or it's going to parse that into an integer. And then we're going to work with a particular cage. So let's go down here and say selected cage. Oh, first we need the cages. Let's say cages equals, we'll just use our service again. Get the cages for state.activeAccount. And we'll go down here and say cages of cage number -1. Because we're showing it to them 1, 2, 3. We got to convert that back to 0 based. Okay, once we've got our cage set, we need to get the dates. We've selected this cage. We'll say the name that you're going to work with. And then we're going to say enter a date, year, month, day that you'd like to start this available time slot on and for how many days, right? So I want to start on a particular date and make it available for 5 days. Now we're using this thing called parser. And that comes from dateUtil. So Python-dateUtil is the module name. It's in the requirements already. Parser is a really sweet way to parse date times. It has many, many different formats it understands. So we're going to use that instead of the built-in date time parsing. Now, once we have this, we just need to go and use our service and write another data access method. So we'll say add available date. And what are we going to pass? We have to have the account. Let's say active account there. Have the selected cage that we're going to add it to. We have to have the start date and the days. And let's go ahead and say state.reload account because this might change the account. And then we want to just have a little success message like, hey, good job. And f-string this. Okay, so now we're down to just pure data access in Mongo, the interesting part, right? Let's go have PyCharm add that function. And we'll have a few things here. So this is going to be an owner, cage, a date time, and an int, and it's going to return nothing. Okay, this looks great. So remember, what we're adding here is actually a booking. And bookings are not top level items, but we'll go and create one to get started. And we'll say booking is a booking like so. And we just got to set the properties. This one, we got to do a tiny bit of math here. So we'll say start date plus time delta. Now we want to change the cage. And the way it's working probably is fine to just change the cage and call save. But I want to make sure that we absolutely are working with what's in the database. So I'll say cage equals. Actually, we can just look it up here, I think. I'm not sure if we need it again. So we'll just say cage.objects id equals cage.id dot first. Okay, then we're going to go over here. Selected cage that was. Let's change that here. Again, remember the bookings are not top level items. They live inside of the cages. So here we're going to append the booking here and we call save on the cage, not on the booking object, right? Because it doesn't live its own, it lives inside the cages. Here we could return the cage, I suppose, if we want, because here's kind of the updated cage. We could even tell consumers that that happens. I guess we don't need our active account here, do we? So we can go ahead and drop that. And let's just do a quick cleanup here. Get rid of this. We're not doing that. Nothing changes there. Okay, great. It looks like we can probably add some time. Let's go ahead and try to test this out here. We're going to be a host. We need to log in. Let's see our cages. Okay, so we've got these two. Let's update the cage availability. The large boa constrictor one is available, so that's going to be number 2. Great, we've selected it. It's going to be 2018/01/01. Brand new year, cage is available. And let's say that's for 5 days. Great, a date was added. Let's add one more. Cool, now if we list our cages, you can see our large boa constrictor cage now has 2 available bookings. It has this time for 5 days and that time for 10 days, and neither of them are booked because no guests have come along and actually booked it. But it's available, and now they can go and ask, hey, what cages are available for my snake? And when they ask, this boa cage, this large boa cage, should come up. Maybe we'll make a little side money while our boa constrictor is not using it.